guys, welcome back. It's been a week since our last video, so I have decided to come up with a little bit something new today. And what we're going to do is talk about my first ever trip to a Blick store, which was unbelievable. It was so exciting. I wish it wasn't so far away. I would probably go every single day. And we're also going to do a review of the Blick Studio line of colored pencils, which I happened to find on sale. I just want to welcome everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching this video. The subscriber base is growing a little bit every day. That makes me so happy. I'm glad to see that more people are paying attention and learning new things, and they're interested in seeing about new products. Remember to share these videos. If you think you have friends and family who would like to see them, you can share them on Facebook. Hit the thumbs up button down underneath this video if you like this video, and be sure to subscribe if you're watching and you haven't subscribed to this channel yet. Right now I'm doing about one video a week, usually a product review or tutorial of some sort, always something new. I watch a lot of YouTube, so I try to cover things that I haven't seen a whole lot of yet, so that the videos can be a little bit more original. Of course, if I see something that's amazing, I'm going to pass that on too, those types of things. Dick Blick, if you haven't heard of Dick Blick, is it's an art store. They have a huge website. Everything you could possibly imagine is online at their website. And they have retail locations in some areas too. I live in southern Indiana, and the closest one to me is in Evansville, Indiana, which is about an hour and 15-minute drive from me. So unfortunately, it's not somewhere I'm going to go all the time, but I am starting a list of things that I found at Blick that I absolutely love. And I'm going to go back once every 1 or 2 months to restock. So before we go into the artist colored pencils, there's a few things I do want to share with you. As some of you may know, I was really excited to receive my 12th set of Faber-Castell Polychromos. They're by far one of my favorite pencils, but I'm not going to say they're my favorite because they're really not. While I was at Blick, I did find some pencils to add to my collection. I got the Pink Madder Lake, the Purple Violet, and let's see, what else did I get? The Medium Flesh, and I also picked up another Magenta because I love this color so much. I knew that I was going to need another one. So I got to add 3 new colors to my Faber-Castell set, which made me very happy. Another thing, and I know pencil sharpeners in the realm of adult coloring and artists who use colored pencils for their work, nobody seems to agree on colored pencils or colored pencil sharpeners and which are the best. Some artists swear by electric sharpeners, and when I say electric sharpeners, I mean electric sharpeners, like this one. This is a Bostitch electric pencil sharpener that plugs in. I don't use this for my colored pencils. I bought it for my colored pencils when I was new to colored pencils and decided against it for several reasons. It's supposed to have an auto stop feature, which means when you put your pencil in, give me a second, let me grab a pencil. We'll just get a regular number 2 pencil. So this is supposed to have an auto stop feature, so that when you put your pencil in and it's sharp, it'll stop sharpening. It'll just stop. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. Another thing I don't like about this is it's loud. Watch your ears. Alright, first of all, it ate way too much of this pencil to get a sharp tip. Second of all, you can see this side's sharp, but if I turn it, nothing. It only sharpens part of this pencil. And it's not this pencil. This is a Dixon Ticonderoga No. 2 pencil. It's not a generic pencil. It's a good pencil. It's just that this machine sits on my desk for I sharpen my No. 2 pencils in it when I just want to draw something. I have no problem putting these in there because these are like 5 cents a piece. But I will not put my colored pencils in there. I also have this sharpener that came with my set of Marco Renoir pencils. It actually came with 2 of these. And this one wasn't terrible. It's plastic though, and I don't like that, and the blade is dull. As a matter of fact, I don't even know why it's in this case. So I don't use that one anymore. I have another one because it came with 2. I have comb sharpeners. Now the comb sharpeners, the first I'd ever heard of those, I heard from Jennifer Say, who does Coloring Pages Bliss. She's on YouTube and has her own website and Facebook group. and she swears by them. So, you know, as a Hobby Lobby, and I picked up a 2-pack. They were $5 for the 2-pack at Hobby Lobby. So you get 3 total blades for $5, which isn't bad. And that sharpener worked amazing. It was great. It's just that it's kind of a pain to take the blade off the big end and put it on the small end so I could have, you know, my 3 blades. So while I was at Blick, I found this. This is by a company called, I'm going to say Mayped, because it's spelled like moped, but with an A instead of an O. It's either Maped or Mayped. And it doesn't say on here where, it says made in China for the metal base. Now, I don't know about the actual blade, but this is the best pencil sharpener I have ever used on my colored pencils, and it cost me 79 cents. I only bought one because I'd never used them before, and I didn't want to buy more than one because I didn't have very high hopes. I should have bought more. So if you're ever at Blick, go over to the little pencil section where all the, you know, loose number 2 pencils are, and look in all the little bins and find the 79-cent Mayped pencil sharpener and pick one up. Don't just take my word for it. Don't go buy a handful because I said I love them, because you may hate them. But buy one. It's 79 cents and give it a shot. I swear to you, I love this pencil sharpener. These pencils I sharpened and then used, and look at that. And this is after several layers of color, and it's still nice and bright and sharp. It's nice and short, so it's not exposing a whole lot of the wood, which means it's not taking away a whole lot of the core of the pencil every time I sharpen, and that's important to me as well. So I definitely love that. That's pretty much it. My boyfriend bought me a How to Draw for Absolute Beginners book because I'm learning how to draw. Now, my daughter is the artist of the family. I'm the colorist. She's the artist. She's 15 years old, and her drawings are amazing. I will get her permission soon, and I will show off some of her drawings in a video for you guys. You will be absolutely amazed at this girl's talent. And I'm not just saying that because she's my kid. She's just really, really talented. So what we're here to do today is look at these. Now that I'm finished rambling on about Dick Blick. This was my major purchase at the Blick store, and you know, I showed you I bought some extra Prismacolor, some extra polychromos. I did buy some Prismacolors that I needed while I was there. Bought the pencil sharpener, and I also bought this. The staff at Dick Blick, when you go into the store as opposed to ordering online, they're so amazing. It was like the middle of the afternoon on a Friday at like 2:30, and there were 3 or 4 people working in there, just like there was somebody helping you constantly. And they know their stuff. It's not like when you go to AutoZone and you ask them to help you find a car part and they have no idea what you're talking about. That's not how it is at Blick. When you go to Blick and you tell them you want a light, fast colored pencil that's not as soft as Prismacolor, but not as hard as the polychromos, doesn't leave a bunch of shiny stuff behind on the paper, they will point you in the right direction. These are one of my absolute most favorite colored pencils I've ever held in my hand to this date. So let's talk a little bit about these. The 72 set is the biggest set they make, alright? They come in this tin. If I can get it open. My pencils aren't in here because I never leave my pencils in the tin. But they come in this tin. They have this little paper, and that's really all it is a cardboard. That's not even cardboard, it's legitimately paper. That you lift the one tin out and you access the tin below. So there's 72 colors, and they're all arranged by color order, which is very nice. I will love it when they do that. So I don't keep my pencils in here. I keep my pencils in here, which is my little Scrawler Box sticker. I love Scrawler Box. We'll do a video on that one day too. So there's all my pretty polychromos, my Lyra Rembrandts that I got the 36 set, and I've added several to those as well. I love these pencils too. Not quite as much as I love the Blicks, but I do love them. I got the white polycolor and the Lyra blender here. Now this is going to start into the Blick Studio colored pencils, and I've taken some of them out, but you can see that they're all organized by color group. There's a wide selection of yellows, oranges, there's several different reds, we've got several different purples, a whole bunch of blues, a whole bunch of greens, and some of the greens are out as well. We've got lots of different browns. We've got grays. The silver and the gold are metallic, but they're not metallic in the sense that they leave like a, they're shimmery. They're not glittery. They have a shimmer. They don't have like that solid sheen. Like it doesn't really look like metal, like real actual metal, but it has like a shimmer to it. It's hard to explain. I'm sure some of you know what I mean, know exactly what I'm talking about, and others are like, what? I don't understand. What is she talking about? They have a shimmer. It's like itty bitty little specks of glitter in the pencil, and not like that metallic shine that you get when you use like a silver Prismacolor, for example. Now, before you run off and go buy this set of pencils, there was one major problem with them, and I wish I would have known before I left Blick, because I would have fixed it right then and there. This right here is it for your pinks. You get a beige, which is like a peach color, and you get a pink, and that's it. There are no more. They make more. The largest set of Blick pencils is the set of 72, but there are 91 individual colors. The additional colors, I believe, come in their set of grays and their portrait set. They also have a landscape set of 24, but I think that those are all duplicates of what's in here. Don't take my word for that, because I'm not 100% certain. I did look them over, and it did appear that everything in that 24 landscape set was already in this 72 set. However, there are 6 pinks in the 24 portrait set that are not in this one. So at this point, I'm trying to decide whether I want to order that portrait set and just have some extra pencils, which is never a bad thing because I love them, or just order the pinks directly from Dick Blick's website, because I think they're 95 cents a piece plus shipping right now. Anyway, I got this entire set for less than $50. It was cheaper in the store than it was online when I bought them. If you go into your physical Dick Blick store, you can get a little preferred customer card. It's like a credit card and a keyring thing, and they'll scan it for you, and they'll give you the lowest price they can find. Something to keep in mind when you're shopping at Blick is that when they do their online price matching, they price match it plus shipping. So let's say that you go to Blick and you order 6 colored pencils and you're going to pay $9.95 shipping. And unfortunately, that is how it works with Dick Blick. They charge you per item that they're shipping. It doesn't matter if it's 5 different colored pencils. You're going to get charged per item up to a total of $9.95. So you're looking at $6 for 6 pencils because they're on sale. And then you're looking at $10 for shipping. So that's 16 bucks. It was cheaper. It would have been a lot cheaper for me to buy the 6 pinks in the Blick store. But I was not thinking at the time. I didn't really think to compare the open stock to what's actually in the tin. And well, so now I'm stuck without pinks, but that's okay. I'm using the Leers and the polychromos to kind of fill it a little bit. These are available open stock. They're available open stock in both the Blick store and the Blick website. On the website right now, they are 95 cents a piece, I think. If you buy 12 or more, you get them even cheaper, 85 cents, and they don't have to be all the same thing. That's one of the things I really like about Blick. And as a matter of fact, when I went to check out, I took my 5 Prismacolor pencils up to the register, and she said, well, if you get another one, you're pretty much going to get it for free because we're going to discount it, because you get a discount for buying 6 and a discount for buying 12. So I went back and grabbed another Prismacolor. Like I said, their staff is incredibly helpful. Comparisons. We're going to do some comparisons on these. Give me just a second and let me go find my notes that I took so I can tell you guys what I feel, the similarities and differences in these and the Prismacolor and the polychromos, and I will be right back with that information. Okay, so I have all that squared away. I just wanted to grab my notes that I'd taken that weren't within reach. We're going to talk a little bit about the difference in the Blick Studio and Prismacolor, and the differences between the Blick Studio and the polychromos. Now, I only have limited experience with the polychromos, of course, because I only have the small number of them so far. But I have used them quite extensively, the colors that I have. So, you know, I feel like I know enough to compare them. The differences in Blick and Polycolor, or I'm sorry, Prismacolor. The Blicks are not as soft as the Prismacolor. When I was making my swatch charts, typically what I will do is I'll start at one side and I'll push really hard, and then I'll lighten my pressure as I get to the end, so I have, you know, a nice picture of all the different shades that I can get with that color. These are not as soft, nowhere near as soft as Prismacolor. I've been coloring with them for a while now. I've done a few different things. They stay sharp for much, much longer than Prismacolor does. They are, however, just as vibrant. They are almost identically vibrant to Prismacolor. And then some pencils are even more vibrant. They're cheaper open stock. They're cheaper to buy in a set right now because they're less than $50 for the 72 set. Although you do get, for $60, you get the 150 Prismacolors. If you're interested in that deal, I'm going to put that link down in the description so you can get the big set of Prismacolors for a little, like, super cheap. But they're cheaper open stock. Prismacolors, I think, are $1.29 each open stock. These are about $1. So you're going to save a little more than a quarter on every pencil. These, according to everything that I understand, these are wax-based pencils. So they do have that in common with Prismacolors. But to be completely honest with you, I couldn't tell it. If it was just based on coloring alone and how these pencils work, they look an awful lot like the polychromos to me, just without the same oil shine. Now, if I tilt this, and you guys probably aren't going to be able to see it as well, but if I look at it from the side, I can see a little bit of a shine. But it's not bloom like you would normally get, like with a Prismacolor. It's shine, and this is probably, 8 to 10 layers of color on here. It looks an awful lot like an oil pencil to me. So that's all I'm going to say about that. They're supposed to be wax. I think they play more like oil. So that's where we're going to start with comparing them to the polychromos. They can sharpen really well, just like a polychromos. The inside core, I believe, is 4mm, I think. So it's a nice thick core. The pencils, like the polychromos, they feel nice and thick in your hands when you're holding them. They retain their sharpness while you color, which is another really awesome thing about them. The Prismacolors, they drive people crazy because you get through, half a leaf and you're sharpening your pencil every 5 seconds. That was not the case with these. I only sharpened, I think, maybe once doing all of this, and this is, 3 different pencils. Now, they do have light fast ratings for these on their website. And the same group that does the light fast ratings for Prismacolor, Lyra, and some other pencils also rated the Blick Studio. This is where these pencils are going to fall behind just a little bit. With the Prismacolors and the polychromos, most of the pencils are going to have outstanding light fastness ratings. Polychromos more so than Prismacolor. With these, there were probably 24 that had only 1 or 2 stars. For me, that's kind of a problem because I'm planning to make some gifts for people for Christmas, and I don't want those gifts to fade. Satisfactory, which is 1 star. I'm not sure even really what satisfactory means. Like, is it going to last a week? Is it going to last a year? There were like 10 pencils out of the set of 72 that only got 1 star, and that made me pretty sad. I'm going to use them anyway, especially, in adult coloring books and things that aren't going to see a whole lot of light. But I think for now, when it comes to, the gifts that I'm going to make, and like if I ever get to a point where I'm doing work for clients, I probably would not use the Blick Studio as it stands right now because I'm just not sure what satisfactory really means in terms of light fastness. With all that in mind, this, I've already showed you this. This is something that I colored with the Blick Studio, and I plan to finish it because I really do like the pencils, and I like this image. Over here, this is my sticky note. I usually have like 5 or 6 different things going at a time. So what I do is I write down what colors I'm using for what parts of the image, and I stick it to the page. So if I come back to it later and I'm not like, oh no, what color was I using? It's all right here, so I won't forget. Now, we did this with the Lyra pencils, and this is just my kind of generic hand-drawn worksheet that we're going to use to test out the things about the Blick Studio that are going to be important, not really to artists as much, like professional artists, but to adult colorists and hobbyist artists. We've got scarlet red, cobalt blue, emerald green, and yellow, which I felt was a fair representation of, the colors that you're going to find in most sets. So we're just going to color out some color samples here, and this is my the colored pencil paper that I always use. This is the Neenah Exact 67-pound Vellum Bristol cardstock. You can find it on Amazon for, it's usually between $5 and $7 for 250 sheets. So it's actually a really, really good deal. That's why I buy it, because it's affordable and I like the way colored pencil goes down on it. I will also put a link to that paper direct to Amazon in the description. So if you're interested in ordering it, you can click that link and go right to it and add it to your cart. When I ordered it the last time, they changed it to an add-on order though, which means they won't send it to you unless you order at least $25 worth of merchandise. So whether or not that is still the case, I don't know exactly. It could be. I haven't ordered it in a while because 250 sheets of paper lasts me a fairly long time. Alright, so there we have the Scarlet Red. And it's not quite as vibrant as some of the other reds in the set. I picked this one because I hadn't used it yet. Unfortunately, it's not as vibrant as I was hoping it was going to be. And then we have the Cobalt Blue. I love this color. And they have a dark cobalt in the set as well, which is just gorgeous. I think my favorite blue in the entire set is called Ice Blue. And it's a really light but bright blue at the same time. I've used it quite a bit. I used the color Dragonfly, and I thought it was amazing. So there's a Cobalt. We have Emerald Green, which when I sampled these out, this was the one that was closest to just a pure primary green. So I figured we'd use this one. Now keep in mind that I'm not, trying to put 7,000 layers on here, and I'm not trying to necessarily burnish. I'm just trying to show you what it looks like in a single layer with medium pressure, and then, try to get a little darker on the other side so that you can see the vibrancy. So there's that green, and then the yellow. The yellows are always the most vibrant in colored pencil sets. Always. I haven't found a set yet where the yellow wasn't the brightest, most vibrant color. And this one, there's no need for me to go back over it the second time because it's just so bright. These pencils are dustier than the polychromos. That's one thing I really do enjoy about the polychromos, is that they're not quite as dusty as other types of pencils. But they aren't nearly as dusty as Prismacolors, especially on the heavier paper. So those are the color samples. So as you can see, the red, the blue, the green, yellow, they're all pretty vibrant. They're not going to be quite as vibrant as some other brands of colored pencils, and especially because I haven't gone in here. And that's the thing about these, you can layer them and layer them and layer them and keep adding, and it takes a long time before you get to the point where you can't add any more layers. So I can make these darker, but for the sake of you guys not being bored and falling asleep on me, we're not going to do that. Now something else that I wanted to show you was the blending, how well these blend, and these are the colors that I was using on the leaf that I showed you on my coloring page. From light to dark, there's apple green, grass green, and dark green. So we will use these for our blending test. So basically what we're going to do is we're just going to light layers. If you're not sure how blending colored pencils works, I will tell you that it does take some practice. It's not something that you can just do in one day, unless you're super talented and you catch on really quick, and that would be great. I'm not saying nobody can. It usually takes some practice for most people. There are some really good YouTube videos out there that will show you how to do some blending, and I'll probably do my own tutorial at some point. That's something I haven't done a whole lot of yet, is tutorials on how to do things with your colored pencils, but I'll get to it. So basically what we're doing is we're doing 1/3 the light color, 1/3 the medium color, 1/3 the dark color, and we're kind of overlapping them ever so slightly so we can try to get a seamless gradient with them. We're going to do one with just the pencils, we're going to do one with a colorless blender, and we're going to do one with odorless mineral spirits, just to see how these pencils react to each of those different, wrong color, each of those different methods of blending. Now, I have personally tried the colorless blender with these already. I have not used odorless mineral spirits with them, so this is going to be new for both of us today. Alright, once you have that, if you want to, we can go into a really quick blending tutorial. Once you have it into thirds like that, usually what I do is I'll go back with my lightest color, and in this case that was the apple green, and I'll color back over both the light color and the medium color. So you're going to divide that circle into 2/3, and you're going to color it with that. Then you're going to take your medium color, which was the grass green, and you're going to color over the darkest part and about half of the middle part, because you don't want, the goal here is to not have those visible lines. You don't want to have the lines visible where you blended them. You want a seamless gradient. And then the very end of it, we'll do again with a dark color. We'll start at the back, and we'll just keep working our way out. And as we get to the center, we're going to make it lighter and lighter touches. And that is basically how it's done. I don't think there's enough of the medium color, so we're going to go back. We're going to add just a little bit more of that. And then one more time with this. And you know, the great thing about pencils like these that will let you put down so many layers is that you can just keep doing this over and over until you like the way your gradient looks. And that's exactly how I do it when I'm coloring a picture, just like this. Now, this is how you blend it if you're just doing colored pencils. And if you keep going in and putting more layers on that, that's going to look just fine. There's, you don't really need the colorless blender or the solvent. If you're someone who prefers to have all the little white space in the in your area gone, like you don't want to see the white space and you want it to look more like a velvety effect or a marker effect, then you're going to use your colorless blender or your solvents for that. When you use your colorless blender, you're going to need to make sure that you have plenty of layers down first. Otherwise, there's not enough pigment for your blender to push around, and you're going to end up with messy paper, unfortunately. That is just the nature of, excuse me, that's the nature of the colorless blender. So we're going to make sure we've got plenty of layers down first. And like I said, I'm taking the light, I'm going over the lightest and the medium, over the whole thing. I'm taking the medium, going over the medium and the dark. And then the dark, you just want to put it where the dark color is. You don't want it to overlap anything else. However, you do want to make lighter and lighter touches as you get to the center so that you don't have that line, that obvious line between your colors. Alright, for the solvent one of the best things about solvents is that you don't need as much pencil. You don't need as much pigment on the paper for the solvents to work. So we are just going to do a couple of layers. Okay. This one looks a lot worse than the other two. I know that, but that's okay, because that's what the solvent is supposed to be there for. It's supposed to help us blur those lines between the transitions and colors. Alright, so now that we've got that done, another thing I do want to mention really quickly, Blick does have its own line of colorless blender. I wasn't aware of this when I was in their shop, and so I didn't get one, but I am planning on ordering some either today or tomorrow. Oh, wrong jar. I was wondering, why aren't there any pencil shavings in there? My mother bought me these mason jars when she was out shopping the other day because I was eyeballing them and I was thinking, wow, that would be really neat to have. So that's what I use. I use one for pencil shavings. I keep odorless mineral spirits in one so they're easier to get to and safer in my opinion. And I keep the pencils I'm currently using for a particular project in the other two. I have 4 of them. So, alright, so this is a Prismacolor Colorless Blender. If you haven't watched any of my other videos or if you've never seen one of these before, this is a Prismacolor pencil without any pigment. All the other stuff that makes a Prismacolor is in here. So it's got all the wax, it's got all the binders, they just didn't put any pigment in it. Now this means that we can take this pencil and we can kind of push these colors around that we put on our paper. And what it should do is fill in a lot of the white space and brighten up our colors because we're getting more of the color down into the tubes of the paper. And the reason that I like this blending pencil is that it doesn't pick up the pigment as it's doing it, and it doesn't dull the pigment like a white colored pencil would do. Now, if you're trying to get a more muted effect, then a white colored pencil would absolutely work for this. However, I prefer, in 99% of cases, the colorless blender to the other options. I go through a lot of blenders. Alright, so as you can see, there's the one we did with just pencil. Here's the one we did with our colorless blender. And now the next one we'll do with solvent. As a matter of fact, I didn't think about it. I can zoom in. It's likely gets slightly blurry. For using odorless mineral spirits for blending colored pencil, I prefer this little guy. Well, this is actually a big guy. This is a blending stump. It's a big fat number 5 blending stump. This is perfect for great big areas. Let me get some mineral spirits. Basically, what I do with it is I just dip the tip of it down into my jar of mineral spirits until it's saturated. And that's what I'm doing. I know you can't see it right now because I'm off the camera, but I'm dipping it down into my jar of odorless mineral spirits and I'm resealing it. Now, odorless mineral spirits doesn't stink as much as turpentine or paint thinner, but I'm telling you, it is just as flammable and it does have fumes. Even if you cannot smell them, they are still there. So what we're going to do really quickly is we're going to go ahead and we're going to take these odorless mineral spirits and we're going to go all over the circle. And there we have it, guys. And that's how the odorless mineral spirits works. Now, with this, you can probably see it. I'm not 100% certain whether you can or not. This has a more markery texture. It almost looks like I colored it with alcohol markers. This one is definitely colored pencil, but you can see less of that white space, and that's because we filled it all in with the colorless blender. This one is just the pencils by itself. There is still some white space behind, and that's because we didn't use any solvents, and I did not continue to add layers, and I did not burnish. You do not need to have any of these things. These are not necessary. These are optional. You can keep layering and keep blending just like I showed you how to do on here, and you can achieve this effect with just your pencils. It's just going to take longer, and it's going to take more of your pencil to do it. So that's why I prefer using the blender. Alright, so at this point I'm going to zoom back out. I'm going to take a real quick break, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to show you how they erase, how they layer, whether or not blue and yellow can make green, and then we'll do like my overall final thoughts on the Blick Artist Studio pencils. Okay, back from break, and we are going to do the erasing and layering test, and we are also going to check the black value of the Blick Studio colored pencils. The erasing test, basically what I do for this, I take one of the brighter colors and start dark and then go to light, and I use my Ohuhu battery powered eraser. I love this thing. It's like $8 on Amazon. Comes with all the refills you need. And we just go through it. It erases pretty well. It's not going to take everything up, obviously, but it does a pretty good job. As far as the layering is concerned, I've already put down a layer of the yellow. So what we're going to do at this point is we're going to go over it with a layer of blue, and we're going to see what it takes to get a pretty green. So I may not have chosen the best colors to do this, but we'll see what happens. And it may take a few. Every time I get on this camera, I start getting froggy. I absolutely do not understand. We'll see how many layers it's going to take to get a green, or if we're going to green it all. At this point, it just looks like marble blue and yellow. So we will go back with the yellow. I'm not trying to be neat about this, in case you're wondering what on earth I'm trying to do here. I'm seeing some green come through. It's not a particularly nice green. It looks more like a muddy blue mess. But we do have a couple of other options here as far as this is concerned. So you can see that, if I can get it in the camera. Didn't really turn very green for us at this point. You can see the green, there is some there, but when you compare it to this over here, it doesn't look very green. So we will take the colorless blender and we will go over it and we will see if we can get some green that way. That's a little better. It still looks kind of marbly, but it's better than it was. There's definitely some green poking through. And then we will go back in with the Odorless Mineral Spirits. If I can find a nice rigid brush. Let's try this little green one with the Odorless Mineral Spirits and see if it turns green that way. And all I've done is just dip my paintbrush in the container of Odorless Mineral Spirits. I know a lot of people refer to it as Gamsol. You do not have to use Gamsol. That's just a name brand. It's not like a specific product. I personally use the Mona Lisa that I got off Amazon. It's inexpensive. It's far less expensive than the Gamsol, and I think it does just as good its job. And you're going to see it discolored a little bit because the mineral spirits does kind of turn it gray. But we did get a green. It did turn green for us. Not as well as like a Prismacolor or a Polychromos would. But we did get a green. So my advice for this would be, if you need a specific color and you don't have it, I would probably suggest getting that color rather than trying to make it yourself, because there's an awful lot. You can see all the blue and all the yellow. There's some green undertones there, but they don't really mix together that well. For me, that's not a big deal, because that's why I buy the big set, so I don't have to worry about mixing the colors. But for some of you, it may be more of an issue. So for the last thing, we're going to do the black test. And basically what we're going to do is, and I know this is probably pretty blurry here, but we're going to take this black, and that's as heavy as I could possibly color it on the page, and we're going to put it up next to my color wheel. And as you can see, the color wheel has different values. Values 1 through 5 for the black. We're going to see which one it most closely matches to see how black the black is. And the good news is that this is almost identical to the value one, even though I know it's out of focus because I'm so close, but it's almost identical to the value one. So with this set, you're going to get an actual black from it. So final thoughts. The colors are good and vibrant. You're not going to get what you're going to, you know, what you would get with the Prismacolor or with the polychromos especially. I think it's fine. Remember, this is, you know, just a couple of layers. If you take your time and you put more layers down, you're going to get brighter colors. And I showed you that on my coloring page here that I have. This was many different layers of the 3 colors of green that I've blended together and layered over and over and over. And they are very vibrant and bright. And this is not a special paper. This is just thin paper. The blending, these blend really well. I love the way these blend, even without a colorless blender. The colorless blender smooths the transitions and it covers up some of the white tooth in the paper, so it gives you a more like a refined finished look. These pencils absolutely love odorless mineral spirits. They do a wonderful job. If you're looking for that finished effect that looks like you colored it with a marker or paint rather than a colored pencil, you're definitely going to want to invest in some odorless mineral spirits. I will put the link to what I use down in the description, as well as some of the other things that you've seen here, the electric eraser that I used, this paper that I do all this on. All the products that I've used here for this will be down in the description. The layering leaves much to be desired. You know, the longer it sits here now, the more green it starts to look. So it's not that terrible. The only thing I don't like is that you can still see a lot of the blue and a lot of the yellow, or a lot of the blue and a lot of the yellow, and it didn't really mix as much as, like, let's say a Prismacolor would if we did this test with a Prismacolor. Erasing was spot on. It did a fantastic job, and part of that's going to be this little eraser. I love this thing. You just barely touch the paper and it takes your marks off. And I've had the same batteries in here for forever, and they're still going strong. So the black is truly black. That's something that a lot of pencil manufacturers struggle with. Oftentimes you'll get a set of pencils and every color will be awesome except for the black, and it'll be more of a dark gray than a black. Here you're going to get a black. And you know, I don't use a whole lot of black in my drawings and in my coloring. If I'm doing like mandalas or something, then I'll use black here and there. If I'm doing something I'm trying to color it true to life, of course I avoid the black. But when I do use it, I want it to be black. So I'm glad that that's what that looks like. I'm glad it's nice and dark. Guys, that's pretty much it for today. Do I recommend these pencils? Absolutely, for the price. Like I said, I went into the Blick store and I picked them up. They were less than $50 for the 72 set. Keep in mind that they do not come with pinks. There is one pink and then a beige, which is, for this brand, is kind of pink. Other than that, you're not going to get any pinks. So you're going to want to either pick up the portrait set, which is $17.99 online, alongside this set. If you do that, you're going to get duplicate colors. Or you can, if your Blick store has the 6 pink colors that are not in this set open stock, then you can pick them up for like $1 a pencil. Or you can go to blick.com and get them there. They're 95 cents a pencil. So, I mean, the fact that the pinks aren't in the box doesn't make or break this deal for me. I just wish I would have paid more attention before I brought them home. Yeah, that's all I got today, guys. Be sure to subscribe if you're not already, because I'm going to be trying to do something like this about once a week. If I find more time, I'm going to try to fit in some color alongs and tutorials and things of that nature. Like this video, hit that thumbs up down there. That way more people get to see this. If you think this is going to help people, if you think it's a helpful video, the thumbs up is a great way to show that. And don't hesitate to share it with your friends. If you have friends and family who like to color and who are looking for, you know, a better set of pencils, go ahead and share this video with them so they can see how these performed. A couple other things, you can find us on Facebook at Simple Art for Adults. You just type it in the search box and it'll come up. You'll see the set of colored pencils as the profile picture. There's also the website, www.simpleartforadults.com. We've got all kinds of ways and all kinds of things that are set up. Keep in mind, if you want to help support the channel so that we can get more products and more reviews and things like that going, there's a donations box on the website if you feel like donating, and that goes directly into a PayPal account. And everything that goes there goes directly into products and things so that I can do this for you guys. And then also the Amazon affiliate links that are down underneath this video. Every time you click one of those links and you purchase a product through those links, that helps this channel. So be sure you do that. And once again, the biggest thing that you can possibly do if you're not subscribed already is subscribe. Thanks everybody for your help so far. We're up to about 40 subscribers, so we're growing. We're getting there. We just need a little bit more time and some more videos, and those are definitely going to be coming up. So thank you for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day.